Hello and welcome to Boomer and Beyond Wellness. I'm Angela Fischetti. So today our workout is going to be a one weight total body workout with supersetting. Now, you see me wearing wrist weights because to be forthcoming, my one weight would be 20 pounds. However, for some of the exercises, I'm choosing to hold the weight by the collars of the weight, and the 20-pounder is just too large for my hands. So how I worked around this was just by wearing adjustable wrist weights. They're 2.5 pounds each. I'll be working with one 15-pound dumbbell today, thus 20 pounds, right? And the other accessory will be our sticky yoga mat. And this leads me right into the precautionary measures and medical disclaimers. So to start off with, the mat has latex in it. So if you do have a latex allergy, please look for non-latex or latex-free. Also, if you have ever been told that you have any back or spine issues, that forward flexing the spine, bending down to pick up something is an issue. This could also apply to, but not exclusive to, osteoporosis of the spine and also postural deviation hyperkyphosis, which is that hunched appearance. And all three of these issues are often told not to do the forward flexion of the spine, so make sure you stay upright for the movements, and we'll show you the modifications. Now, also, if you're medicated or not for hypertension, you have GERD or vertigo, well, you want to avoid this movement, and it's a forward flexion of the cervical spine of the neck. The other thing you want to avoid is this forward head projection. So for you folks, keep the head neutral. Now, conversely, for those of you who have ever had a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, or a stroke, you're going to see me do an exercise that I'm calling an incline chest press, and I like to lean back a little bit when I do it. So it does take us into a back extension, a back bend, and I look up at the ceiling. So for TIA stroke, what we want you to do is just keep your head neutral. You can lean back, then you can lift the arms. Just keep the head neutral, please. If you have osteoporosis of the hip, or you've ever had a hip replacement. Now, you will see me doing a wide-legged squat, known as a sumo squat, all right? So for you folks, you may have been told not to go out so wide with the legs, so you're going to do more of a basic squat, which I will be demonstrating for you as well. If you have vestibular challenges with your balance, then number one, I advise you to never work out on your own by yourself. Please have a companion with you, because one of the exercises is going to be done unilaterally. It's a kickstand deadlift, one leg at a time. And so you might want to hold on to a couple of chairs alongside you, or place your hand on the wall, or you can do a basic deadlift, which I'm going to show you anyhow how to do. If you've had, or have, I should say, rotator cuff muscle issues deep to the shoulders or pinched nerve at the neck, you want to be careful with any kind of like a military press, an overhead press, a shoulder press. It's all the same thing. And I'm going to include in this category, medicated or not, for hypertension. So this is the movement I want you folks to do, which is called a delta abduction, going away from the midline of the body to delta adduction. Notice I'm not going all the way alongside me, about 10 to 15 degrees away, because now I'm going to bypass the pesky supraspinatus, which is one of those rotator cuff muscles. This one in particular injures pretty easily. So I'm just checking my notes here. Yes, I have a couple of more issues I would like to address. So when it comes to bicep and tricep work, folks, it is really an issue if you have golfer's elbow, which is medial epicondylitis, or tennis elbow, lateral epicondylitis, because these issues play themselves out very uniquely in each individual. So you're going to want to look into this a little bit further to see if bicep, tricep work is appropriate for you. So these are a bunch of chronic issues that I've mentioned. However, I'm going to invite you, whether I've mentioned your issue or not here, but if you have a chronic concern, I'm going to invite you please to preview the video first before participating and look for what you can do. And if you're not sure, then I would invite the medical healthcare practitioner who knows your body best to preview the video as well to then help you make an informed decision. So some reminders for the workout here today. Please feel free to stop and rest whenever you need to. However, it's not an invitation to quit. So you take a couple of breaths, and then even if you rejoin for one more repetition, you will get stronger this way. Also, please take your water breaks throughout the workout. However, if you have kidney or bladder issues and you've been told not to drink the water, you listen to that advice, please. Now on the channel, you're going to find within the community tab a rating of perceived exertion chart that you can download and print out, and it is advised for those of us from this demographic to work out at an RPE between 3 and 6. Really helpful for those of you who might have a pacemaker or on certain medications like beta blockers, or simply for those who don't know how to take their own exercise heart rate. Great chart for you. Also on the channel, there is one warm-up cool-down video that you can use the moves and just interchange them if you'd like, because it is advised for those of us 55 years and above, 55 years and above, to warm up for a full 10 minutes prior to the workout. Now, how we're going to handle today will be, we're going to do 10 exercises here for you. And how I'm going to approach it is in a vertical fashion first, top to bottom, one set, and a set is a group of repetitions. Typically, I advise between 8 to 15 of every exercise. This is a great approach as a warm-up. It's a great approach for some of you. It might be a full workout. Maybe you're new to strength training or new to exercise. And certainly if you have chronic concerns, you would want to look at it from this perspective to begin with. Maybe you're stronger than that, and then you go for it with the weights. So now let's begin. So after we do the vertical movements, we're gonna move into supersetting. So that's where we're going to take 5 blocks of 2 exercises each, work them back to back without any rest. So now we begin with how to stand when you're working out. So this is called an athletic ready stance. And I'm gonna look down and making sure my toes are in the same line as each other. And I wanna line up my ankles to the knees to the inside. This is my high pelvic bone. It's called the iliac crest. So you wanna look for that. Hands go to the inside. Point the hands straight down, not in toward each other. Now let's turn to the side. What can happen sometimes is people stand in what's called an anterior pelvic tilt. So what we want to do is soften that up and come into a posterior pelvic tilt, also known as a pelvic tuck. Now be careful, some people do this. It's like doing a standing abdominal crunch. So we do want to avoid this. So the first block will be sumo squats, those wide-legged squats with a bent over back row. So for those of you with osteoporosis at the hip or have had hip replacement, I'm going to show you here how to do a basic squat. Now, the other option for you folks will be doing a wall seat. The same thing applies to those of you who cannot forward flex the spine. So I'm going to step all the way back here and just want to show you that you can just sit with your back to the wall. You don't want your ankles behind your knees. You want them slightly forward. You can go as low as you need to or come up higher, okay? And if you have knee issues, you do want to make sure that you modify your joint range of motion. So for a basic squat, standing in the athletic ready stance, I'm lifting the toes inside the shoes. I sit back into a chair, inhale, exhale, I come up, and I do a slight posterior pelvic tilt to squeeze the glute. From the side, it looks like this. And if you have knee issues and you want to try it, you just keep the movement small because it's still a squat. So now let's move into the sumo squat. Toes same line, toes lifted inside the shoes. Inhale, I could do I should say a shoulder abduction along with the hip abduction. And we then come into the adduction face, going toward the midline of the body. Or you can just keep your hands at your waist. Same concept though. I'm pushing up from the heels, therefore driving the work into the posterior chain of the body, big time into the gluteals. I'm tracking the knees over the second to third toes. And I'm exhaling on the effort, but I am breathing in and out through the nose. One more repetition. And now we come into the bent over back row, but the flexion issues, you're going to stay upright. So let's just demonstrate it first for you folks. Stand a little bit on the diagonal, athletic ready, arms out, and I'm gonna pull. Inhale, reach, exhale, pull. So what happens is that the shoulder blades are retracting, drawing in toward each other. So that's your option. Those of you who want to join me in the bent over, go for it. So pull, inhale, exhale, pull. So when we do this, we want to pause at the peak of the contraction, pull the belly button up and in to protect the back. Let's take 3 more, pause. You move slowly when you're not using external resistance. Apply a sense of your own. Slowly coming up. The next block will be lateral lunges along with an incline chest press. So you have an option for the back spine issues, you know, the osteoporosis at the hip replacement. You folks can do the basic squat and go for that wall seat again. So I'm going to step to the side here. And I come out. Now I'm landing the body weight into this hip. You see it as my left hip. And then I close. You can tap together or you can keep moving through it. I don't care how you want to do it. You can stop. And oftentimes when the weight is much heavier, you kind of take that stop, you know. I'm going to go for 2 more. And then I'm going to step over to the other side. You can also do it with the arms hanging and reaching toward that outside foot. Just make sure you land into the foot and get that weight into that gluteal. This is the whole working side here, folks. But yeah, this thing's working too. But definitely the glute is on that side that's being activated. I'm going to go for 2 more. And now the incline chest press. For TIA stroke, you can keep yourself straight up if you want to and just work out in front like so. Or the option would be not to drop your head back. So leaning back, athletic ready. Exhale, push. Push, pause. So I'm aiming toward the ceiling, focusing on a non-moving point. So we're strengthening the front deltoid, the pectoralis muscle, the tricep muscle. A lot going on here. 1 more. So I did choose 8 out of 10 exercises to be the compound movements, multiple joint, multiple muscles, working simultaneously. Now we're going to do a narrow stance deadlift with a military press. So there is one issue I want to address with this. If you have valgus knee is when it's like this and it's referred to as knock-kneed. It's not very nice, but that's what it's called. So what you want to do is just keep your legs separated. And let me show you a basic deadlift in comparison to a squat. I'll show you the squat first, basic squat. Again, toes lifted, we're sitting back, and we come on up. Now, a basic deadlift, we're going to hip hinge, and you're only going to go as far down as you can handle. Sometimes the hamstrings are super tight, the gluteals, your back muscles, whatever. You want to honor that. So you can use this as an option for valgus knee. I'm going to stand with the legs together, toes lifted, belly button, hip hinge. And notice the hands are just kind of gliding along the thighs and the legs. Take that posterior pelvic tilt, get that little squeeze at the glute. Keep the head up, particularly those of you medicated or not, for hypertension, GERD, or vertigo. We don't want to be dropping the head down. And are you breathing? Breath is good, yeah. Couple more, please. Give that little squeeze at the top. One more. Now athletic ready, arms up, military press, shoulder press, overhead press, several names. Exhale, lift and lower. You know your delta abduction, adduction variation. For those of you medicated or not, for hypertension, have vertigo, GERD. Also, in particular, rotator cuff and pinched nerve. Two more. And slowly down. Now we're going to do a variation on a squat called a goblet squat. So right away I'm going to let people with knee issues know, be careful here, because technically it's done where your butt is dropping below the level of your knees. You might want to take this to the wall or keep it as a basic squat or even a sumo squat if you'd like. So basically the hands are going to come like this. I have to just be careful with the microphone. Feet are wider than the hips, but not like a sumo squat wide. And I sit back, keep the chin up. I actually like the weight. When I actually hold the collar of the weight here, I like my chin to touch it, and I use the weight to keep my chin up. Now let me turn to the side a bit, or diagonal, so you can see a bit what's happening. Belly button. Keep the chest up, head up. One more. Careful as you lower the arms down. Now we're going to do a bent over, straight arm press back. Okay, here you go. The spine flexion issue is here. So for you folks, you're going to stay upright and just bring the arms straight back, pause. We're getting tricep, posterior delt, the back of the shoulder. We're getting upper back muscles. This is a great exercise. So I'm just going to hip hinge a bit and take it here. Let's go this way for you. Yeah. There is a tendency on this kind of exercise to go super fast. Slow it down. On the whole thing, slow it down. Just one more. And release. I'm going to take just a couple of big shoulder rolls here. And then the final block will be the kickstand deadlifts with hammer curls. So here we go. Vestibular challenges, please be aware, because it is unilateral. So I'm up on the ball of the back foot. Hands are on the front thigh. Belly button is in. Chin is lifted. I bend both knees. And it's when I come up, I think I'm coming up and forward. Boy, it is, I mean, even with this light resistance, man, it gets right in that glute. And we need this particularly during the aging process. This is so important because oftentimes women in particular will fall due to weak gluteals. And I'm going to change sides. Now this one, I'm going to be forthcoming. I had an injury here as a little kid and I still have the remnants of it. So I'm going to actually stay straight forward so I can see myself and make sure I'm showing you correctly. So you see that I kind of go a little slower here. Just make sure you take that little squeeze at the top at the glute. The primary working leg here is the one out in front, not the one behind you. Chest up, shoulders back and down. Just one more. Okay, let's move into it now. I'm gonna grab my 15 pounder. Now we have 20 pounds working with. So I'm gonna hold my weight between my peace fingers of both hands underneath the collar and standing with the legs nice and wide apart. Now this is where we introduce supersetting. I sit back into a chair, I'm lightly touching the floor with the weight, come up, posterior pelvic tilt, squeezing glute. Also wind up squeezing the quadricep muscles. Now why do I lift the toes inside the shoes? It's because it really does help drive the weight back into the heels. And when you lift from those heels, you're sparing your knees. You're getting into that posterior chain really beautifully and pretty deeply too. Tracking the knees over the second to third toe. You will find that your heart rate will elevate. Your rate of breathlessness will go up. So just make sure you're working at that RPE between 3 and 6. 2 more. 1 more. Great. Now bent over back row. So I'm going to hold one hand over the other on the bar. And I want to make sure you can see both feet. Here we go. Up toward the chest, just below the sternum. Make sure you're moving those shoulder blades, the scapulae. Stay upright for those of you with these spine flexion issues. Out in front and pull. 1 more. Careful coming up. Again, sumo squats. See how this works, folks. There we go. And sit back. So we will wind up doing 20 sets here this evening, or today, or whatever time you're watching it. Second to third toe, very important. You don't want those knees to go valgus, right? You don't want them to go kind of knock-kneed on you. One more. And bent over, go a little more narrow with my stance. Working that back row. Moving the scapulae. Protect yourself by pulling the belly button in. 1 more. All right, second block. Lateral lunges along with the incline chest press. You know your modifications now, folks, so your responsibility is to apply them. Here we go. I gotta fix my glasses here. Okay. Last one here. Over to the other side. Standing tall and out. Head and chest up, please. Two more. Hold here. Holding on to the collars of the weight now for your incline chest press. I'm going to stand a little wider. Be careful, TIA stroke. You might want to go straight out in front. Sorry, I just hit the microphone. Here we go. One more. Careful when you bring it in. Again, lateral lunges. Why not? I'm going to start from this side this time. Oh, what the heck? Okay. I almost kept going. Are you breathing? Let's go for one more. And hold. Are you drinking water? Yeah, I get quiet when I'm working. Two more. Okay, incline chest press. Why not to this side? It's not straight overhead. It's a leaning back. Focus on that non-moving point on the ceiling. Two more. Chest up, and slowly down. So now we're on our third block. This will be narrow stance deadlifts. Remember, those of you without this knee, regular deadlift with a military press. So standing with the feet together and toes lifted, hip hinge. Exhale, come up, posterior pelvic tuck. Pause at the peak. Take your time. You don't want to get sloppy. You can get hurt. Let's go for one more. And now to that military press. For some of you, delt abduction, adduction. So about chin level here. Athletic, ready, and straight up. Just watch your face. Don't hit your eyeglasses if you're wearing them. Two more. Now I'm going to do a little diagonal position here. Still narrow stance deadlift. Toes lifted, hip hinge. I know for me, when my legs are wider, when I do, let's say, a Romanian deadlift, basically a wide-legged deadlift, it just feels a little easier for me to achieve going lower. This one, legs together, maybe I'm staying up a little higher. And also it will challenge your balance because the feet are together. When you have a broader base of support, there's more balance, obviously. Last one. And another round here of military press. I don't go any lower than my chin when I lower the weight. Last one. Okay, now, here we go. I'm just gonna turn a little bit here, get the weight. Goblet squat. collar of the weight, right up to my chin. Careful here with the knee issues. You can always do that wall seat. Watch your range of motion if that's the type of knee issue you have. Two more. All right, now, this is where I'm going to grab the collar of the weight, like so, holding on. So you can stay upright or bent over for your straight arm press back. As we said before, lots of tricep, posterior deltoid, upper back muscles. Be careful, a lot of people want to do a forward head projection here. Don't let that happen. That doesn't mean you're bringing your arms further back, folks. You want to have that pause at the peak of the contraction. One more. And release easy when you go to bring your weight back around, especially if it's a little heavier. Okay. Just double check everything. Okay, here we go. Right underneath my chin, I have the weight. Reminds me to keep my chin up. Oh gosh, let's go for two more. Straight arm press back. Remember, bicep, tricep work. Careful with golfers or tennis elbow. So I'm just doing a little bit of a hip hinge here. Belly button. Woo, baby, I feel it. You're sweating, I'm sweating, and I have the AC on. Last one. Wow, okay. Did I do this twice? I don't think so. Well, what the heck, if this is a third time, so be it. Here we go. Oh yeah, this is the third time. This one's for good luck, folks. Two more. Okay. Wow. All right. Straight arm press back. Upright. Diagonal. Hip hinge. Ooh la la. Two more. Wow, I feel that. I don't know about you, but I do. Okay, now we have the kickstand deadlift. Folks, be careful here because of the vestibular challenges. This is one leg at a time. And be careful also with the forward flexion of the spine. So we're up on the ball of the back foot. Weight is in front of the thigh. Chin is up. Bend both knees. Drive up and forward a bit. But let it all come primarily from the front thigh and leg. So for me, it's on my real left side. You may see it as the right. Oh boy. Yeah, feel that. I'm gonna make sure I count. I don't do a third set. One more. And I am gonna face the camera for this. Here we go. Up on the ball of the back foot. And drive it. And drive it up and forward. Bend both knees, Angela. Chest is up. Definitely challenging for me on this side, especially. Oh, one more. Oh boy. And now hammer curls. So we're going to hold the collar of the weight, or collars of the weight. And athletic ready stance, shoulders back and down, up and down. Nice and slow and controlled. And please be advised again, golfers, tennis elbow, this may not be appropriate for you. So I know for myself, I kind of want to pitch forward when I lower the weight. So I've got to get the weight back into my heels a little bit more. One more. Ooh la la. Okay, again, kickstand deadlift. Pardon me. Okay. Driving up and forward. Primarily, the working leg here is the front one. What you see is my right leg. I'm gonna go for two more. And then we're going to take it to the other side. Oh boy, yeah, I feel it. Okay. Chest up, up in the ball of that back foot, both knees bend. I gotta take it a little slower on this side. Two more. Whoa. Last one. And hammer curls. You always want to take your time setting yourself, preparing for each exercise. And avoid accidents. Puff up the chest, shoulders back and down. My inner upper arms are hugging my outer upper ribs. Two more. And slowly down. Wow, okay, I'm gonna remove the wrist weights. Oh boy, okay everybody, let's take some nice big shoulder rolls. We'll do a little bit of a cool down here, some basic stretches. Okay, so I'm gonna bring the arms up and overhead, and then I'm gonna lower back down. So notice the hands here. This is a wrist extension. Not great for carpal tunnel. So you can just place one hand on the other so that the wrists don't go into extension. And you can hold if you wish, or you can keep it dynamic, you can keep it moving. And then I'm going to open the arms out wide, pushing the walls away. Again, this is a wrist extension, so we want to avoid that for carpal tunnel. You folks do this. You straighten your arms and you're reaching out through your middle fingers. You're not drawing the arms back, not yet. And then inhale, thumbs down. Exhale, interlock your fingers. Draw the palms together, puff up the chest. Avoid this forward head projection. It's not going to get your arms further back. It's not about this, folks, because the tendency is to flex the spine and then drop those shoulders. You start kind of slouching in front of you. Opening up that chest. And release some more shoulder rolls. And maybe take a nice calf stretch here, stepping back, puff up the chest. And step forward. So this is when you can head on over to the warm-up cool-down video on the channel to do a bit more. Just want to get a few stretches in here with you. And step forward. Let's take a nice forearm wrist stretch. This is appropriate for carpal tunnel, but this is not. And let's take the other arm. Then let's do a little bit of a standing back extension, because we did some flexion work here. So I'm going to stand with the feet wider than the hips, but not sumo squat wide. And place the hands on the sacrum, the flat triangular plate at the lower back. And again, for carpal tunnel, I would bring the hands down lower so that the wrists are not extended. Roll shoulders back, head neutral, especially TIA stroke, head neutral for the moment. And you can bend the knees or do this with straight legs. I'm thinking about sliding the sacrum down toward the heels. The sacrum does not slide. It's just an image I like to use. And when I can't go any further, whoo, I got a nice spine adjustment. And I'm going to drop the head back. You don't have to. If it feels good, go for it. But only if it's appropriate. Try it with straight knees. And then inhale and lift up on the kneecaps, contracting the quadricep muscles. And then exhale into just a few more shoulder rolls. And that's what we have for you here today, folks, on Boomerang Beyond Wellness. And if you find value to the channel, please subscribe. Right now we have 414 subscribers. The next goal is 420. Please help us to get there, because the more subscribers, the more YouTube will release the videos to others to see. So this is your own chronic concerns corner, and we need to help those who are timid or frightened to work out because they've gotten injured in the past. I hope you find value here. I certainly find value with you being a subscriber and being in my life, and I truly appreciate your support. So until next time, eat your greens, eat your beans, drink your water, and be well.